Goosebumps Horrorland Heads You Lose by R.L. Stein Part 2. A week later, I was back home. When I came down to breakfast, Dad was flipping the two-headed coins, still yawning. I dropped beside him at the breakfast counter. Heads or tails? Dad said. Good morning to you, too, I replied. He grinned. Good morning, Jessica. Heads or tails? I rolled my eyes. Dad, you and I both know. He spun the coin in front of my face. Winner gets $5. Heads or tails? He said. Okay, I said heads. He rolled the coin in his hands. He made a fist. Then he flipped it into the air. It bounced onto the corner, bounced again, and landed on the side. I let out a shriek. How did you do that? He laughed. Do what? The coin did it. Can you teach me that trick? I asked. He took a big sip of coffee, then he made a face. He pretended to choke, then he reached between his lips and pulled out the coin. I shook my head. That's an old one, I said. He shrugged. An oldie, but a goodie. Dad is thin and wiry. Everything about him is slender. His parents used to call him Broom because he was as skinny as a broom. He has wavy brown hair with just a little gray at the sides, warm brown eyes and a warm smile. The first thing people notice about Dad is his hands. That's because they are so big, with very long fingers. Dad says with those hands he could have been a great piano player, except he had no musical talent at all. He can't even hum. But his long, slender hands are perfect for performing magic. He can hide anything in them. And he can switch coins or cards faster than a human can see. Mom is tall and big, like me. Big boned, that's what she calls it. And she and I have the same straight brown hair and blue eyes. I spooned down some Cheerios. Dad slipped the two-headed coin between his fingers. I'll show you another trick, he said. He placed the coin flat in the palm of his hands. Now watch, Jessica. I'm going to make the coin flip over without moving a muscle. I glanced up from my cereal bowl and my eyes caught the flower clock on the kitchen wall. Oh no! I cried. Dad, I'm going to be late. I grabbed the coin and jumped to my feet. Dad was always doing this to me, showing off tricks after tricks, making me late for school. Later, I called. I slid the coin into my shorts pocket, grabbed my backpack off the front stairs, and ran out of the door. The sun was rising over the houses. The grounds sparkled. A typical Tampa morning. I already hot and humid. My school is only 2 blocks away from my house, but I knew I'd be sweaty by the time I got there. I didn't care. Miss Leewood had already warned me a few times about coming in late. I squeezed between the thin palm trees on the corner. I do it every morning. Don't ask me why. It's just a superstition which I have. Then I ran full speed down the next block, a block of little red wood houses. The playground came into view, nearly empty. Almost everyone was inside the school. I saw a few stragglers jogging towards the door, and then I stopped and gasped. Oh no! Boomer had Ryan pushed up against a tree. He held Ryan by the shirt with one big hand and waved his other fist in front of Ryan's face. Was I too late to save him? I went running towards them, shouting. The backpack bounced hard against my back. Boomer didn't even turn around. He pulled his fist back and shoved it hard into Ryan's stomach. Ryan made a yak sound. He dropped to his knees. His sunglasses fell to the grass. He bent over, hugging himself. Boomer, you jerk! I shouted angrily. He turned. He had a toothy grin on his fat face. He likes punching kids. Boomer spends a lot of time punching kids or threatening to punch them. Boomer is big and wide. He has thin, tiny brown eyes close together above with big piggy snout of a nose, and his two front teeth poke up of his mouth. He has very short rust-colored hair and dark freckles all over his face. He has a horsey, squeaky voice like chalk on a chalkboard. He doesn't sound tough, but trust me, he is tough. Know his favorite superhero? You guessed it, the Incredible Hulk. Boomer lives in some kind of fantasy world. He really thinks he is the Hulk. That makes him dangerous to us normal non-mutants. Why do you hit Ryan? I cried, out of breath from running. He made a joke, Boomer said. I don't like jokes. Your parents made a joke, Ryan said. It's you! Why does Ryan have to make Boomer mad? Why can't he just hand over his lunch money like everyone else and keep his mouth shut? All Boomer wants is money, that's, and to see kids shake when he starts by doing the Hulk imitation. Everyone is afraid of him, too afraid to report him to Miss Leewood, our teacher, or Mr. Greeny, the principal. Funny, Boomer said. He pulled Ryan to his feet. I told you I don't like funny. He raised his fist and got ready to deliver another punch. I drove forward and grabbed his hands. Wait, Boomer! He spun around, his face bright red. What's your problem, Jessica? He squeaked. You don't want to get in the way of my fist, do you? I have an idea, I said. My heart started to pound. I have an idea too, Boomer said. He struck out a hand. Pay up! Give me a second, I said. You like this? It's cool. We'll flip a coin. Boomer wiped spit off his chin. Maybe I'll flip you, he growled. We'll flip a coin, I repeated. One toss. If you win, Ryan and I will give you lunch money every weekday for a week. And if I win, you will let Ryan and me go. He stared at me with his tiny brown eyes. I could see his big freckled forehead crinkling. I knew he was thinking hard. Come on, let's try it, I said. I slid the gold coin from my shorts pocket. One toss. If you win, it's money for a whole week. What can you lose? You can lose some teeth, Boomer muttered. He like a bad cartoon, a scary bad cartoon. I held the coin up. It gleamed in the sunlight. Want to give it a try? I asked. I hoped he didn't see my hand trembling. Ryan had his eyes on the coin. He knew what was happening. I could see him struggling not to smile. Boomer nodded. Go ahead, Jessica. Toss it. Here goes, I said, raising the coin higher. Heads I win. I flipped the coin high in the air. It came down quickly and bounced twice on the playground grass. The three of us leaned over it. Heads, I said. You lose, Boomer. I started to shove the coin back into my pocket. Boomer grabbed my wrist. Again, he said. That was just practice. Now let's do it for real. I hesitated. Come on, Boomer. You agreed. He clapped his sweaty hands over my mouth. Again, he said. I backed away from him. Okay, here goes. I flipped the coin even higher this time. Heads I win, I said. Tails you lose, Ryan muttered. It landed in front of Boomer's huge sneakers. He squinted down at it. Heads. Ryan and I cheered. Boomer muttered some nasty words. His face turned bright red again. He spat on the grass. Then he spun around and stomped away towards school. Ryan and I waited till he was in the building. We didn't dare laugh or say anything that if Boomer decides to come back for a third coin toss. Finally, we couldn't hold it inside any longer. We let out a victory cheer. I heard the bell ring inside the school. We are late, I said. Better hurry. I bent down to pick up the coin. I didn't see it. I began to crawl, searching the grass with both hands. No coin. Where is it? I cried, starting to panic. Did Boomer take it? I don't think so, Ryan said. He was squinting with his head down, searching too. Hey, that shiny thing! We spotted the coin at the same time in a thick clump of grass. We both drove and made a grab for it. I wrapped my fingers around it. Ryan's hand wrapped around mine. And suddenly I felt weird, dizzy. The grass tilted up towards me. The sky tilted away. Hey, I muttered a sharp cry. Ryan's hands slipped away. The grass spun around me. So dizzy. Did my feet leave the ground? Was the whole playground flying above me? I felt as if I were being flipped over and over, tossed like a coin. I tried to cry out again, but the sound caught in my throat. The green grass and the blue sky whirled and spun in front of my eyes, and I was whirling and spinning too, flipping heads over heels. Oh, I landed, sitting up with a hard thud. I blinked several away my dizziness. It took a few moments to get my eyes to focus. Sitting in the grass, I gazed all around. Where was my school? Where was the playground? Dazed, I murmured to myself, everything has changed. I climbed shriekingly to my knees. I seemed to be in a wide empty field. Tall grass swayed all around me. It looks like ocean waves, a sea of grass. A flock of large birds floated silently overhead. They casted a flirting shadow over me. Where are we? I heard a voice behind me. Startled, I whipped around and saw Ryan sitting cross-legged on the grass. Ryan, you're here? I cried. He pulled off the sunglasses and squatted at me. Yes, I am here, he said. But where is here? Where is the school? I stood up, I walked over and pulled him to his feet. We were both wobbly. I felt dizzy. Did you feel like we were spinning? I asked him. Flipping over and over? He nodded. Jessica, let's find the street. If we can see the street, we'll know where we are. Sounding like a plan, I said. I shielded my eyes with my hands. I gazed all around. I didn't see any streets. I said. Ryan made a gulping sound. Weird, he murmured. We started to walk. The tall swaying grass brushed over legs. Insects buzzed and chirped all around us. Another silent flock of birds floated overhead. Where's our school? I said. My voice came out shrill and tight. I don't like this, Ryan said in a whisper. A gust of wind made the grass slap my legs. It seemed like the whole world was swaying, bending one way, then the other. An endless green world. Maybe somehow we got sent back to prehistoric times, Ryan said, and we are the only two living humans. I gave him a shove. That's great, Ryan. I knew I could count on you to look on the bright side. He started to reply, then stopped with his mouth open. He pointed straight ahead. I turned and saw a green line in the distance cutting through the grass. Is that a street? No. As we hurried closer, it came into clear view. A wall taller than us, made of flat grey stones. It stretched in a straight line through the grass as far as I could see. Ryan pulled a green bug off his cheek and tossed it away. The bug had a hard, round body and at least 60 spindly little legs. Why would someone build a wall in the middle of the field? Ryan asked. I felt a sting on my forehead. I slapped a green bug off it. It left a sticky juice on my skin. I brushed two more of the fat bugs off the leg of my jeans. The grass is infested with these creepy bugs, I groaned. A shiver my back tickled. Bugs crawling up my back. Ryan turned and began jogging along the sides of the wall. I followed after him. Wait, I called. Ryan, stop. He stopped and turned around. We have to go one way or the other, he said. I shook my head. A green bug fell out of my hair. I've had enough, I said. Enough mystery. I'm getting us out of here. Ryan mopped sweat off his forehead. He leaned against the stone wall. How? He demanded. I swung my backpack in front of me. Two fat green bugs were climbing on the straps. I slapped them away. I pulled my phone out. Dad is home today, I said. I am calling him to come get us. I pushed the speed dial number for my house and waited for Dad to answer. Silence. It didn't ring at the other end. I pushed stop, then tried again. Silence. I raised the phone and studied it. The screen was dark. I pushed the power button. Nothing happened. Maybe the battery is dead, Ryan said. No way, I replied. I charged it this morning. I pushed a few more buttons. Still nothing happened. With a sigh, I shoved the phone back into the backpack. The strong sun beamed down on us, but I was shivering. I am not easily frightened, but this was just too freaky. My legs itched. It scratched it and felt the squish under my shorts. Another green bug, I guessed. Jessica, Ryan stuttered. Maybe a horse went. Maybe a horse went. We stared at each other. Did you hear that? I said. The horse went again. Ryan tapped the wall. It's on the other side, he said. Maybe there are people there too. The wall was about 2 or 3 feet taller than me. Yes, me. Give me a boost, I said. Ryan frowned. You're going over the wall? How will I get over? Didn't you bring a ladder? I joked. You are so short. You need a ladder to brush your hair. Ha ha! Ryan made a disgusting face. That's one of your dad's worst jokes. The horse went again. Push me up to the top and I'll push you up, I said. Come on, hurry. You want to go home, don't you? If we still have homes, Ryan muttered. He bent down and cupped his hands like a stirrup. I lowered my sneakers into his hands and he lifted me up high enough to grab the top of the wall. I hoisted myself up The top of the wall was about 2 feet wide. I balanced on my knee. Then I bent and helped Ryan scramble up beside me on our knees on the wall. We both turned and uttered cries of shock. Ryan, where are we? A castle, I cried. I pointed into the distance. A steamy mist clung to the ground. The building shimmered over the mist, purple and pink, like a fairy tale castle. A white yellow path led to the castle doors, a huge black and red banner fluttering on a tall flagpole high over the entrance. The building seemed to stretch for a mile, with point stairs and tall towers on each end. It looks like the castle at Disney World, Ryan muttered. Unreal. Unreal in the world? I said. How can this be happening? What happened to our school, our neighborhood, our house? We gazed at the shimmering castle, then we turned and lowered ourselves to the ground. In front of us, a narrow wooden bridge arched over a thin silver of water. On the other side of the bridge, I saw a row of small shacks. The shacks appeared to be slapped together with boards and grey mud. They had thatched roofs, no doors or windows, just square openings cut into the walls. Ryan and I strode across the bridge. The water beneath us was dark and still. The hoarse winds once more. It's over by those sacks, I said, pointing. Let's find someone to help us. There are no tall grass on this side of the wall. Here the ground was yellow dirt. Our shoes kicked up clouds of dust as we trod towards the row of shacks. I saw a fire orange flame dancing in soft breeze. A man stood working beside the fire. He was a big, powerful-looking man wearing a ragged outfit, a vest over his bare chest, and baggy trousers that looked like they were made from an animal hide. He had long, scraggly hair that fell over his dark eyes and a thick brown beard. His face was red and sweaty. He didn't see us. He was concentrating on the tool in his hands. It had 2 handles and he was squeezed it over the fire. I recognized it from a history book, a bellows. He's a blacksmith, Ryan exclaimed, and then I saw 2 horses standing in a small stable behind the fire. The man bulging as he pushed and pulled the bellows. With each push, it blew air into the fire, making the flames jump. He didn't see us until we stood a few feet away. I could feel the heat of fire on my skin. I took a step back and pulled Ryan back with me. The man's eyes were wide behind his tangles of hair. He gazed at us in surprise. His eyes traveled up and down as he studied us. Finally, he spoke in a gruff voice. Is the prince having a costume ball? I didn't know how to answer that question. Prince? Costume ball? When was he? What was he talking about? Why was he staring at Ryan and me like we were Martians or something? We were lost. I finally blurted out, Can you tell us where we are? He tossed back his head and laughed. No, really, Ryan said. Where are we? The blacksmith pointed to the far-off buildings. Doesn't the castle give you a clue? The fire crackled. He picked up a huge pair of tongues and began heating them in a flame. "You cannot be lost if the castle is in front of you," he said. My mind spun with questions. "What year is this?" I blurted out. He squinted at me. "I am but a blacksmith," he said. "How would I know the year?" "But we don't have blacksmiths anymore," I said. "Where do you come from?" he asked. Flames licked at his hand. It didn't seem to bother him. "From Tampa," Ryan answered. The blacksmith turned away from the fire. He studied us again. "Does the Prince of Tampa know you have fled his kingdom?" "Kingdom?" I said. "You don't understand. Tampa is a city in Florida. We live near the bay." He frowned. I could see he didn't like that answer. He set the tongues down on the forge. He brushed back his hair. His dark eyes grew cold. "Are you the ones the guards have been searching for?" he boomed. "No," I stammered. "We just got here." He took a step forward. As my heart started to pound, he startled, looked so big and menacing. "Stay right here," he ordered. "Do not make any attempt to escape." "Escape?" He rumbled across the yellow dirt, waving his arms in front of him. "Guards! Guards!" he shouted, calling for the guards. "Guards! Guards!" calling for